Hi everybody. My video today is about tips and tricks and things that I've learned and products. I just remembered one. I was trying to get everything up here in the room. I just remembered one I didn't have. I'll do that later. My first tip is if you don't have a recliner, if you can get one, that'd be great. I borrowed this one from my daughter and son-in-law, and my son-in-law was kind enough to get it out of his house, up my stairs, and into this room for me, facing a TV. And I just come in here to be able to get my feet up and watch TV, and I sleep in my bedroom, but this was our guest room, so I figured I'd use it for sitting. But it really helps, or to have some way to put your feet up. I'll show you another thing I use in just a minute, but it also helps to have a table, so I just used an old TV tray that I had, put it here for my remotes and so on. And in the beginning, you'll have a lot of things, and you don't want to be jumping up and down to go get stuff. I mean, you do need to get up every hour, they say, and walk about 5 minutes or so in the beginning with your walker. You need to keep moving, so you shouldn't sit for too long, but they want you to sit, ice, elevate, and then get up and walk every hour or so. Otherwise, though, you don't want to have to get up every time you need something. If you want to keep Kleenexes, your pills, a drink of water, stuff here, maybe keep a sweater nearby. I also think it's handy to we have this remote control switch for our lights in this room. I haven't really needed them. We keep this on the wall. It's got a wall mount that comes with it. They're just, from Home Depot and such. There's also one that has a push button remote control, and there's a receptacle, I don't know what you call it, that plugs into the wall. Then you plug your light into it, and then this controls it. So if you're sitting here and it's getting dark, you can turn the light off and on with the switch. It's also handy to keep your I think this thing's called a spirometer. You breathe into it or suck it. I think they say every hour, or 10 times an hour, or something like that. I don't know. I did it as many times as I thought about it. They'll give you a little marker on there to show where they want it to come to. I was able to do it all the way to the top from the beginning, so I wasn't too worried about it. But they worry about you after surgery. I think what they're worried about is maybe developing pneumonia, and they want to keep you breathing and breathing deeply, and that's what the point of this is. But after my first pre-op visit, which I don't think I've told you about, and I will in another video, I didn't need this anymore, so done with that. Other things that are, this is something also that they give you when you come home from the hospital, or at least my hospital gave it to me. Well, they didn't give it to me. Nothing's free, of course, but it was included in the bill. And this is your ice pack, and many of you probably know about this, or if you've been athletic, you probably know about these. It goes around your knee, it velcros underneath and around in 2 places. And it comes with 4 ice packs, and you use 2 at a time. You put them in the freezer, freeze them, use 2, keep the other 2 in the freezer when these get warm. And they last a pretty long time, several hours. I mean, it's really a little too cold in the beginning, and in fact, it'll be frozen solid, and it's hard to get it around your knee. I'll kind of pop them, crack them a little bit, so that it will go around my knee okay. But yeah, it'll stay cool for a long time. So you always keep a backup, and then you can replace it. And in the beginning, you use that a lot. Now I'm almost 4 weeks. I'm about 2 days shy of being 4 weeks out. And I probably ought to use it more than I do, but I find that it's sometimes a little bit irritating and causes more redness and swelling. And I found out from my therapist, I was doing it too much. She said in the beginning, you want to do it a lot. But now I should just do it 15 minutes or so, and a couple of times a day. But in the beginning, you're using it a lot to get that swelling down. Something else I got ahead of time. This thing I thought was great. This is my pill container. I got it from Amazon, and I liked it because it has 7 days, and each one has a place for 4. So it has a morning, noon, bedtime, evening, and bedtime. And they are different colors, but they are also marked for the days. So this one's Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. So my husband actually kept those full for me so that I didn't have to worry about it. And he has instructions and everything's all printed out. There's quite a number of pills you have to take, especially in the beginning. You'll usually take Celebrex or something for keeping the inflammation down. And they give you, at least for me, they gave me a pill to take 30 minutes before I took the Celebrex in the morning. I take it morning and night, but it's Prevacid or something like Prevacid that helps your stomach so that the Celebrex doesn't bother your stomach. Also on baby aspirin, and of course Tylenol you can take, up to, don't quote me, I think up to 12 a day. I never took that many. But now I don't have any Tylenol. I just have the baby aspirin, the Celebrex, the Prevacid, and my regular cholesterol, statin, and blood pressure medication. And in another week, I'll be through with the Celebrex. And I have to continue the baby aspirin. I think my next visit is in another 8 weeks. I don't know why it's so long, but anyway, I'm getting down to where I really don't have much to take. But I found this very handy, and every day my husband just gives me that day's pills, and I either keep them here or by the nightstand sometimes, or sometimes now I just keep them downstairs. Really, I don't need him to give them to me anymore. I just go down and get it, because when I have breakfast, before I have breakfast, I take the one for my stomach, and then I just stay down there. And I can fix my own breakfast now. I'm really almost back to my usual routine. Plus, I still go to therapy 3 times a week, but I'm driving. I'm back to my regular routine. So I'll bring you up to date on that in another vlog. Then, in addition to those pills, I got this 7-day pill, and you see these all the time in CVS and places. I got the black one to specifically keep the narcotic in. I did not want to mix that in with my regular pills. That's just my preference. And I wanted to try not to take any narcotics. And in the end, I have not taken any. I was very fortunate not to have pain at all. In fact, I have more pain now than I did. I had no pain in the beginning. So I never took an oxy. I took Tylenol, and then I decreased that, and then I quit that after about 2 weeks, I think. Probably could have quit it sooner, didn't really need it. But I was a little scared to go cold turkey off of it. But anyway, I found keeping the narcotic in this, and I usually kept this by my bed, so I had a dose during the night. I mean, I paid attention to the Monday, Tuesday. I only put 1 dose in at a time, because if I woke up in the night and I needed something, I didn't want to have to think about it or worry about taking too much. I had the right dose in there, and I just knew in the night I could get it if I wanted to. Another thing that I really like is I happen to have this. I used to take care of my 90-year-old, 95, 96 now, year old mother. She used to live with me, and I had gotten these little stools, which were very handy when she had company or the grandkids came over. It came with a little cushion, and they're expandable. Just put your fingers in there. I got these on Amazon, and they pull down to nothing. I keep them in a drawer, but I hadn't used it since she wasn't here anymore. But I got it out for the surgery because, first of all, it's handy to just have another surface to put pills on, or a plate if you're eating, or just things start getting cluttered. But I also mainly got it because it's another way to elevate my leg, and if I didn't want to go back in the recliner, I could always just sit here like this and elevate my leg. Sometimes I'd put pillows on top of it so it would even go higher. I found all kinds of creative ways to get my leg up. Sometimes when I am reclining, I can put my leg up here, and that's very comfortable actually to me. And you'll develop your own way. We already had this Wedge Pillow, and I thought I would use it behind my head in the bed, but I wasn't comfortable that way. And what I ended up doing was putting it in at the bottom of the bed so that when I went to sleep, I could have my legs elevated. I also found a way to make it work with the recliner, and I'm sure I can't do it now. I haven't done it in a while, but I would put it at the bottom of the recliner. Let's see if I still got the knack. Oh, wait a minute. There's a trick to it. There we go. So it put them up higher than the recliner would go. And it was very comfortable. I could sit here watching TV like this. So, yeah, you'll find your own little tricks, but that was handy. If you don't have that, you can use pillows, just a bunch of pillows. And it's a little hard in the beginning to get your leg up there like that. And then when you got to go to the bathroom, you got to quick move it out of the way. So, but anyway, that has been helpful. What else? It's handy to have a phone charger by you. Keep that nearby, and your computer if you need it. Another thing, a friend told me who had the surgery to always have something like a fanny pack to take things from room to room in the beginning. You don't want to have to be making multiple trips to get things, and you don't want to have to carry things when you're using your walker. You might have a walker that some people have bags and things that hang on their walker or attached to their walker. And if you don't have that, you can just attach one to your walker. But having a fanny pack is also helpful. When I was at the hospital, when I came home, they gave me this little bag I don't even know what was in it, but it's just about the right size. My computer fits in it. My ice pack fits in it. So it was handy if I have to go down the stairs. I have a 2-story house. And so I wanted to be able to hold the rail. And at the beginning, a cane. I quickly dispensed with that cane. I just went sideways on the stairs with holding onto the rail with both hands. But that lets you hold it with both hands. If you just put something on your arm, you can carry stuff around, a cell phone and stuff. And I don't need that anymore, but it was handy in the beginning. Some other things, I think that's everything except what's in here. I also have this brand is called a Bed Buddy. It's a microwave heatable warming device. It takes about 2 minutes to heat it up. I used to use it a lot before my surgery, but for my neck and all kinds of things. But really, you're supposed to use ice after your knee surgery. But I found that once I started doing physical therapy and some of my muscles were a little sore, that I asked first, and please, I am not a doctor, so do not take anything I say as gospel. Check with your doctor, check with your therapist. But my therapist said it was fine and my doctor too, to put heat on sore muscles. I don't put it on my knee because I don't want to, you want that to be cold and elevated when you can to help with the swelling. But I would put the heat here, and my shin hurt in the beginning. Sometimes when they have to, like my leg was starting to flare out a little at the bottom before my surgery because of my arthritis in my knee. And so that stretches out or contracts, I've forgotten which it does, the muscles down there. And so when they correct your leg, put in the prosthesis, then some of that has to kind of readjust and may be achy. And I found when I turned my foot in, I was very sore on the outside. So I would sometimes put the heat there. And sometimes I'd do both. I'd have the ice pack here and the heat down there or up here. So again, found that helpful. Um, Compression stockings. These are just so much fun. These things are a pain in the tush to put on. They make them where they have a hole at the bottom, and I don't even know, in the beginning you may have seen me with these on and thought I had a hole in my sock. I did not. It came that way. But and it has a little blue thing where the heel is, which I thought was helpful because it helps you to know when you're putting it on how to aim for your heel. At the hospital, the reason this hole is there is they said to, let me think now, how did they do that? They put a plastic bag over my foot, which helped slide this on because it went on, it had something slippery there. It helped to get this on, put the bag over my foot, and I guess up my leg a little bit. I don't know. I was in the hospital. I was a little foggy. And then once you get it on, the stocking on, then you can pull that bag out that hole, and then you just got the stocking on. I never did that when I got home. I probably should have because it's a pain, like I said. But, you just scrunch it up, and the hard part is, well, all of it's hard part, but you get it over your foot, and then little by little, you can work it up your leg. And taking it off, I found was best to just go inside out, pull this part down first, and just keep pulling until it came off your foot and then totally came off, and then you just turned it right side out. So you're supposed to wear them on both legs in the beginning, and I had ones that just came to the knee, which I think most people have, but they also gave me these thigh-high ones because I had to keep a gauze pad over my stitches. I didn't have a lot of adhesive covering all that because I'm a little allergic. I get a rash from adhesive. I did have some adhesive here, but they tried to minimize it. So I had to keep the gauze pad there, and the compression stocking held the gauze pad on. So it was kind of awkward getting that all in place and putting the stocking on, but that's why I needed the above the knee stocking to hold that in place. I worked for whatever, it's a long time. They have you wear it, at least till I went back to my appointment, my first appointment, which was at the 3-week mark. But there were times where it was, they say you don't have to wear it at night. Sometimes I would to hold the bandage on, but other times it was just too uncomfortable. So I developed this little technique where I took an old pair of pantyhose, I may have mentioned this in a previous video, and I just cut them off, cut the foot out of it and the top part out of it, and then I used put the gauze pad there and used this. It's not like a compression stocking. It doesn't serve that purpose, but it did hold on the pad. I could also have used an ace bandage, and I did that some of the time, but that's also awkward to wrap around if you're doing it by yourself, to put the gauze pad on and then wrap that what did I just call it? I forgot the name of it. Ace bandage. Put that around and then put this on top of it. Or no, ace bandage. So instead of using the ace bandage, I put the gauze and then I put this on over it. And that worked really well. Another thing I did where because, why did I do this? It was something about, I didn't like my foot being in the compression stocking. And so after I didn't really have to wear them anymore, I was well into my recovery, I cut the foot off of it, which made it a whole lot easier to get on. And then it was just on my leg and not on my foot at night. There's something about it on one foot, not the other. It just bothered me. So that's compression stockings. What else do I have? Oh, so this is my handy dandy. I like this thing. I also had this from my mother. And this is my buzzer, so that I could call for help if I needed it, because my husband was downstairs and he's often on calls. And so I have this buzzer, and this plugs into a receptacle wherever you want it. I had it down close to his office, and then I could just ring for him if I needed him. Once I started taking showers, then I would take this in and hang it on the handle of the shower, outside the shower, so if I fell, I could get to it and reach it. And I had gotten this at Amazon. It also comes with, the one I got comes with 2 buttons, and it comes with this portable battery operated thing, so that like if my husband were to go outside to work in the yard or anything, then I could still ring for him if I needed him. So let me see if it works. I hardly ever used it, but it was comforting to know I had it, so I'm gonna ring it. And it has a bunch of different kinds of music and buzzers and all kinds of stuff. You can set it up, and that's a low volume, but you can turn it up. And this one's particularly loud. So one way or the other, I could call him. And then also, when my mom had this, because that can be annoying to have around your neck, so I would take this off, and I got a wristband that is just a, like for tennis, playing tennis, and it has a seam all around there. I cut the seam open just a little bit, and I have to work it a little bit. I won't do it right now, but you can work this into that hole so that just the red is showing. Wear it on your wrist, and then that's a whole lot easier and more comfortable than having it around your neck all the time, but it's handy having it right there on your wrist. Plus, if you take it off your neck, and my mother used to do this all the time too because it bothered her, then she would forget to put it back on, and she didn't have it when she needed it. So I devised this system, and I also, because it came with 2, I put on the other one, I put Velcro, 3M Velcro on the back, and 3M Velcro by her nightstand, so that at night it was right there and she couldn't knock it off. But she, and of course, you can't sleep with it around your neck, but it would be right there on the nightstand by her. So let me see my little list. I think that's pretty much everything. Okay, yeah. Wedge pillow, I said. Yeah, I think that's it, except for lotion. They say don't put lotion or anything on your knee after the surgery, but boy, it's your legs just get, because they had that betadine or whatever that stuff is they put on their disinfectants. Of course, the night before the surgery, you've got to rub with all this antiseptic stuff. All I wanted to do was put lotion on because I just felt like I was itchy. Actually, the stitches haven't been itchy, which I was expecting them to be, but other products and things they put on you made me itchy. So I usually keep lotion or Eucerin or something here, and I have put lotion on above and below, and even to the sides, and that really helps. So that's it for my tips, and if I think of other things, I'll do a part 2. Like I said, I'm 4 weeks out. I still have the steri strips on here, and the doctor said keep them on there for 8 more weeks till I go back, which I think is nuts. I thought that the dark coloring on here was stitches, and I knew they were supposed to dissolve, and I said, can't you take those out? Like, they're just not ever going away. He said, those aren't stitches, that's a scab, and the stitches are clear. So he wanted all this to stay on. He said as it begins to curl up, which it will, I can just take clean manicure scissors. I have some that I wash before I use them, and cut away like this one. I don't know if you can see it, but that Band-Aid is pulling up. They've got a lot of adhesive on them. I'm surprised they're not making I may have a rash under there, but they kind of lose their adhesiveness as time goes on. Although I took such good care of them in the beginning with my gauze and wrapping it all up that they were perfect when I went back for my 3-week checkup. Too perfect, because we want it to come off. So he wants it just to come off naturally. Just keep cutting it away as it comes up. But he's not worried, but he doesn't want me pulling them off, and he didn't want to pull it off because he doesn't want to pull off a scab. Eventually the scab will fall off, just like any scab you get, when you were a kid from skating or skateboarding or whatever. Eventually the scab will fall off, and all of it will come off. I have been peeking under there. I've done a little more than I should. When it comes up a little bit, I cut it away. I peek a little bit. There's one place that wasn't ever covered well. Just one little spot between. These are a bunch of strips together, but there was one spot never really covered. And that's probably the little dot of blood that was on my gauze pad. But I can see that that scar is completely healed there, and I suspect it's healed everywhere else, but I'm being very careful not to pull off the scab. But I have a feeling before I go back to the doctor, it'll all be gone, because it just should be. That's all. And if you're wondering if you can tell, I've got something else on here. I should be saying this in the next video because this is really an update, but I'll go ahead and tell you that I had said earlier I had more pain now than I had none in the beginning, but I developed a bursa that's swollen. So as in bursitis, there are, I think, 4 bursas around this area, which you have around your joints for a purpose. There's fluid in there that helps the joint move, I understand. But sometimes they can get inflamed. Sometimes I think even infected, but this is just inflamed. And it's right down there. And it was hurting to walk. I had gotten up to walking 2 miles at a time outside, but it was getting very painful to walk because of that. Because every time you take a step, it's rubbing on it. So my physical therapist told me 2 days ago, or yesterday, that it would really help to do this tape, which I think is called K-tape, which I think stands for kinesthesia something or other. And I've read about that tape, and I've had it before when I used to go to physical therapy for my knee a number of years ago when I first started having knee problems. I didn't really think it did any good. So I read up on it this morning, and it was saying it's pretty much a placebo effect a lot of the time, that for a lot of things. There are no studies showing it's effective, although people say that it can be effective. But if you look up bursitis and tape, that it says it is effective for, or at least the things that I read said that it helps to get that fluid broken up. I think what it says it does, and again, I'm not a doctor, read for yourself, but it lifts the skin a little bit away from the bursa and allows that fluid to move through there better and dissipate, I think is the way it was explained. But anyway, she put this on yesterday, and I have to tell you, I was walking so much better today, and I slept better last night. So it's either working or I just think it's working, but I felt better for sure today. And I walked a lot more today, and I've been trying to alternate steps when I come upstairs, which I've been doing about every 2 or 3 times of coming upstairs. I will do that, alternating. Today I've tried to do it more often and just really put it to the test, and it seems to be doing good. So that's it for my tips, and I hope that helps. Be sure to prepare ahead of time. Like I said, get your little area set up, your chair, whatever chair you're going to use, some pillows, a wedge pillow, light switches, a table, whatever you can, your pills, do what you can ahead of time. And make sure you have someone around to help you those first few days especially. You can pretty much do everything by yourself. At least I could, because I didn't have a lot of pain. If you have a lot of pain, it's going to probably be a different story. But it really helps to have somebody, even if you have to hire an aide, for at least a few hours a day. It's helpful to have somebody around. So that's it. I will talk to you later, and everything's going well. Take care.